Hello everyone, welcome to the end of the second story of Abram. So far what's happened is that Abram has left the land because of a famine, but he's worried that the Egyptians are going to kill him to take his wife. So he has devised a strategy, which is to lie and say that she is his sister, so that he will not be killed. So far, it has worked in that they haven't killed him, but it has not worked because they have taken her into Pharaoh's household. In this last paragraph, the Lord is going to intervene so that he can still guarantee the promises that he made to Abram. It starts with Vayinaga Adonai et Paro Nigaim Gedolim Ve'et Beito. So we notice that cognate accusative where the verb is based on naga, and then we have the direct object which is based on naga. But let's parse that verb. Vayinaga. What's at the end? Nothing. At the beginning? Vav patak dagesh. Well, actually there's no dagesh because this is yod over vocal shava, but it is a preterite. So we have a preterite 3ms, and what's going on with R1? R1 is over patak, but in its syllable, it includes the prefix. So we've got vocal shava, patak, and then dagesh in R2. So we have a PL preterite 3ms from naga. So we have the Lord struck Pharaoh with many blows, or the Lord afflicted Pharaoh with many afflictions, or with great afflictions, and his household. Al davar Sarai eshet Avram. So all here means on account of, and then this is a case where we do not translate davar with word. It refers to the issue, right? Word, matter, thing is usually the glosses that we learn for davar. So on account of the matter of Sarai, the wife of Abram. Vayikra Pharaoh la'Avram vayomer. So Pharaoh called to Abram and said, and so the rest of what we have here is a quote, and he says, Mazot asita li. What is this that you have done to me? Little typo there, sorry. Let's look at that next verb, asita. What's at the end? We see ta from ata, 2ms perfect verb ending. We look at R1, it's got no prefix on the front. R1's got a pretonic open long kamates. So we have a cow perfect 2ms. And what is the root? The root is asa. And we often say R3 equals yod and not the phony hey, precisely for this situation where we see the real third radical, the yod, instead of the phony hey that's there when the third radical is lost. All right, so it's a fientive verb. It's a perfect. What is this that you have done to me? Lama lo higadta li. So why didn't higadta? So again, ta at the end, 2ms. What's going on at R1? Well, that hey is not R1. It kind of looks like a PL. If the hey was R1, you'd have a chirik under the first letter and a dagesh forte in the second. However, the root is, the root is nagad. So the first letter is a nun, and it's closing a syllable. So it joined the prefix hey with a chirik and made hin gadta, and then nun jumps into to the gimel as dagesh forte. So it's a hifil perfect, 2ms from nagad. Why didn't you tell me ki ishtaka hi, that she is your wife? I noticed the odd spelling there of he. It's got a vav instead of a yod. So what seems to have gone on is that the 3ms and the 3fs pronoun were written the same way at a certain point in time, and then they are distinguished, and the scribes change them all, but they miss some of them in the Pentateuch. It's just an older spelling, an archaic spelling that is preserved in some places in the Pentateuch, really by accident. Lama amarta. Why did you say, or why have you said? Why did you say is better. Why did you say achoti hi? Why did you say she is my sister? Va'echak otah li la'isha. And then I took her to be my wife. So ekhak, what's the dagesh forte in that kof? Yeah, that's the lamed of lakak. And again, we have a preterite. And then we have ve'ata, and it's got a nice pausal accent on it. Ve'ata hine ishtaka, kach valek. So va'ata often works as a transition. So in verse 18, in the beginning of 19, we've got all of his initial dumping on Abram, and then he makes a transition. So now, right? So there's what you did, and he's using questions to act as accusation. Right? Why didn't you? Why? Because in other words, you did it, and that was bad. So v'ata, and now hine, look. Here, I mean, he's presenting her to him. Hine is that attention getter, directs his attention, our attention as the audience. But now, here is your wife, kak valek. All right, so we need to parse both of those. So with kak and valek, there's nothing at the end and nothing at the beginning, and only two radicals for each of those. So what gives? Well, these are both imperatives, and they're both imperatives to ms, right? So no ending because of that, and then we've removed the prefix from the imperfect paradigm in order to make the imperative. And these are both roots, lakak and halak, that lose their first radical when we make the imperfect. Right? Lamed loses it; it becomes dagesh forte in the kof. And so it's gone, and it thinks it's a first noon verb. Halak thinks it's a first yod verb, and the hey goes away. And when we make the imperative, we remove the prefix, and R1 does not come back. So kach valek is take her and go. And then we have vayetzav live paro anashim. Pharaoh vayetzav. Let's parse that. There's nothing at the end, and of course we see our preterite marker at the beginning, vav patak, and then no dagesh in the yod because it's over vocal shava. And then we're looking at R1 to find the ID badge, and we see the vocal shava under the prefix, the patak under R1, and then there's no dagesh in R2 because there's no vowel after R2. So what goes on there? Right, so we have a PL. Vav patak dagesh is what we're trying to do. It's a third hey, phony hey, R3 equals yod, not hey. It's one of those kind of verbs. And when we go into the preterite or the gessive, the accent moves up and the third radical is lost. And now that there's no vowel after R2, we can't put a dagesh forte in it anymore. So the root is tsava, to command. And maybe here we would choose give orders. He ordered his men about him, which isn't great English style. Pharaoh gave orders to his men about him. Maybe we could adjust the English like that. And then vayishalachu oto ve'et ishto ve'et kol asher lo. So with vayishalachu, we've got the u at the end, our preterite marker on the front, and the prefix is yod. So yod and u, we have a third masculine plural preterite from shalak. And so when there's multiple things to send away, or when you're seeing people off as opposed to sending somebody on a mission, we have the PL of this root. It's got three direct objects: oto, him, ve'et ishto, his wife, and all his stuff. But for English style, we might say they sent him off with his wife and all his things. I don't want you to think that because I translated using the English word with, that this et is not the direct object marker, because it is. We're just adjusting for English style. Then chapter 13 is going to start a new paragraph, not because it's a new chapter, but because we have Vaya'al Avram Mimitzrayim. We have the character changing location. And we have also changed the subject of the verb, and these are a couple of signals that we can have a paragraph change. So in other words, the chapter break is a good chapter break. Chapter 12 had two stories for us. In the first story, God called Abram. Abraham did as he was told and worshiped the Lord everywhere he went throughout the land of Canaan. And then he leaves Egypt, he lies, he puts the covenant promises in jeopardy, and God acts and intervenes, and he is faithful despite the failings of his people. And I'm so glad for that. All right, stay tuned for the next story.